let's start with this part right now. I think I kind of need to give the other part a second thought, because I'm currently very worried that we may get the production of our cases stuck just because we have an overflow of like plastic parts and metal or something else. Alright everybody, hello and welcome back to another episode on Good Company with me, Spacefish, and welcome back to our beautiful, magnificent factory. In the last episode, we finally took care of a lot of the logistics for our newly set up production of cassette players. And, well, while that is finished, there's still a lot of things to take care of because we have not taken care of any of the conveyors yet. We need to go and set up the inputs for those. We need to set up all the input frequencies for them as well. Make sure that all the products populate through in the right amounts, that everything gets produced properly. We need to employ some people down here to actually get things ready. And, well, we then need to make sure that everything actually flows through until the very end, all the products are being made, and well, at the very end of the day, that we do have our new fancy cassette players going in the frequencies that we want. So a lot of things to go right there, and we will take care of all those and more today. But just quickly before we do get started on that very stuff, if you're new around here and if you do happen to enjoy this episode, please make sure to smash that subscribe button right down below. That would mean the absolute world to me. We're currently very well on our way to 1,000 subscribers, and every single person truly does help out a ton. With that all out of the way though, before we actually start on this whole logistics stuff, discovered a little thing up here, and we do very much need to take care of that, because as you can see, we've got like 6,000 research points to spend, so we probably want to get going on this. In terms of this, I'm not actually entirely sure what was our last project here, to be honest. In general, in my mind, it doesn't matter too much what we specialize on next. We do have some of these improvements right here, but we've really not even used the well, the lower down tier versions of those, so I don't think we're going to need those anytime soon. Camera sensors and the radio links, though, I think could be quite interesting when we are looking to upgrade our drones in a bit. Then, of course, we do have the motors too. So, given the insane amounts of research points that we do have, I think let's start with the motors. Then we've got them all checked off. We've got everything good to go for any sort of drone improvements. Then we maybe do these, so that we can already get that going for the near future too, and then we'll just find whatever else. So let's get that started, and then let us turn our attention to these conveyors. Now this here, I fear, could end up being a bit of a hassle to actually set up. At the very end of the day, I'm not really quite sure how we can connect this without blocking about everything else that is in the way there. So, quite curious. Well, the thing is, we've got two conveyors coming through here, right? Now, this conveyor here, we could easily connect overall. Don't see the big issue right there. For this one right here, it's a bit more complicated. Now, what could be an alternative for this? That is also, though, still quite eh. But what could be an alternative in general would be to move this conveyor to here. Now that would allow us to have a corner shelf here. Yeah, I think let's do that. So we're going to remodel this conveyor. Let's go and get rid of this part. That way we can kind of create some more space down there as well, and that should hopefully be more or less the solution to our issues. So this part here will go entirely. This part we will just delete for now, because we've got to start it at a different point at the end of the day. Or actually, well, we've got to pull that one through newly entirely. And then we will just do that one. That way we're starting right here, basically. What that means is that we will then go and grab a retrieval segment. Don't need to access this part right here, so that should be fine. And then we'll basically need a corner shelf so we can actually access this shelf right here. And that'll be the input then that we have been needing right there. And then we have this part. So what this little extra space that we created here allows us to do, or not, depending on how we do it, I guess. Somewhat like this. We can move this up there, and at the end of the day, I'm going to go and... well, we're going to have to actually deconstruct this entire conveyor, because this will have to start at a different point. We'll basically pull this one just around the corner, right? So we'll do something a little like this. And we will go and squish it in a retrieval segment. And it's going to have to be another corner shelf, just so we have a separate shelf and don't, like, use this one. I don't think that makes too much sense. So, like that, we've actually got those conveyors connected. Was a bit worrying of a setup right there, but overall I guess it is fine. So, what we now have to find out is what we actually want in these conveyors, and particularly... okay, let's go for this one first. That goes all the way up here, it seems. Now, we're on the one hand side making the metal rods right here. On the other hand side, is it bare metal that we're using? No, it's plastic parts, actually. Okay, so we will have to get that on there then, and I'll also have to find out where we had the overcapacities and where we didn't. As far as I remember, our overcapacities were actually right here. So we would need to... oh. Yeah, right, these all go directly into that corner shelf, which is a bit of an issue, admittedly. I think we will change that part. Let's go and actually... is that one filled now with plastic? Ew. This is a bit... ah, right, it had... I guess we're going to do something a little like that. And we're just going to dual purpose this shelf right here. So these are going to instantly, well, first things first, flow in there. I guess in the end there's going to have to be some sort of logistics employee that comes in and moves this over. And then we're going to have like a nice bit of storage right here for the plastic parts. Now from the plastic parts, that goes over there, of course, but where we also want to put things will be into this corner shelf right here. Because that's going to be where we use it for the case production. Just need to actually set up the right amount in that shelf, and then we will go and grab some metal, of course, because that's going to be the other component that we need. That then is going to provide us, well, the plastic parts and the metal that we need. The interesting question here being, what do we also require at the end of the day in terms of input frequencies? You can see... let's start maybe right here. We will need 9 metal every time. So... actually, what is... yeah, we've not really pre-configured this one either, have we? We'll have to see. So, anyways, we will grab 9 metal every single time. Now, in terms of a production speed, I wonder if this actually has the same production speed. It's a day for these. It is a day for these metal rods too, so we can somewhat nicely align that, I would say. Overall, we will then need 4 metal and 5 plastic parts retrieved by this thing, because that kind of goes around the entire thing, right, and into that shelving rack. So 4 metal, 5 plastic parts. Let me go and set that one up. Metal, plastic parts, 4 and 5. And that's going to run into that big shelving rack like this. So that ends up with us having these parts in here. And at the very end of the day, what we basically then need to configure is going to be the rule for the metal, the rule for the plastic parts, the rule for the rods. It's going to be 4 metal, 5 plastic parts, and we'll need to see how many rods. 2. So let's make that a 2, and that is basically what we need for one case, and that's then going to be output to there. So the interesting parts here then being, we need 9 metal here, we need 4 metal here, so it's 13 metal a cycle for both these machines together. In the end, I mean, it's 1 day each, so the production times don't vary, which is why we just get 1 set amount there per every cycle of the retrieval segment. So 13 units of metal followed by 5 units of plastic parts is going to be the frequency that we put here. Boop. And what that also kind of means in my mind, we've got stacks of like 100 for plastic parts and only 50 for metal. So in order to make this process here a bit more efficient in the end, hopefully, and make things a little easier, I thought I had set these to 200 and 100. But anyways, we'll leave the plastic parts at 100, and we'll up the metal to 150. Given that we need a whole lot more metal than plastic parts, I think that makes a whole lot more sense, and in the end I think it hopefully also means a little less work for our logistic employees. That is that. That is everything now set up here on the conveyor up until there. Now honestly, I mean, that's going to be like probably 100k of materials just flying around on the conveyor bands here. We'll have to see. I imagine that actually getting this whole conveyor band production running for a start is going to be quite the capital investment. But once it then all is going to get going, it's going to be fine. So it's whatever. I am fine and happy with it. We've got 1.6 million bucks, so overall, you know, I think we can live happily ever after. That said, this is actually the amount of things that I should have looked at. So that's a bit of an issue. On top of that, this means a whole different story. So let me adjust that. I kind of forgot about the part that this, of course, makes multiple things at once. So we need to put 45 metal plates in there, not just 5 or whatever we had. That means we need to do 2 stacks of metal, and we need to change the other retrieval segment. Good thing that we just saw that. That would have been an absolute mess up. So it's 25 and 20 here. Just basically 5xing everything, right? So 25 plastic parts, 20 metal pieces. That is going to flow into there. And then we've got 20 metal pieces, 25 plastic parts, and I assume it's going to be 10 rods in the end. Let's double check that part. Indeed it is. So that is that. Another topic here would actually be to kind of, you know, pre-provision for the amount of things that we need. There's going to be a lot of metal, so I'm going to pre-provision a lot for that. Going to kind of leave the plastic more on the lower end of things, and I mean metal rods, we don't really need much of any of those, so I think the balance can be like, oh, I guess rounder spots. 2 are just randomly blocked again. That's fine. Then we've got this stuff right here. So, gonna do a bit of a similar thing in terms of metal. Not quite as much, because of course we do need to store some of the rods. And then some plastic parts, and we can kind of just fill these in with like 1 block each, and that should be about fine. So that is that. Now we do need to re-add all the metal that we need. So it is in the end going to be 65 metal and then 25 units of plastic parts. So the way that we're going to do this, hopefully, would be to go and add another set of metal. Moving that up. Moving this one down. Why is up, down, and down, up? I am so confused. Why is this inverted? Anyways, 65 plates of metal, 25 pieces of plastic. That was very confusing, not gonna lie, but hey, we'll work with it. That is going to be our actual frequency then. So, you know, already hopefully fixed something somehow there, I hope. So, that is gonna be that. Now the cases are going to go all the way here. And then they're going to go here, yeah, because of course in the end we will have a case machine making this stuff. So I mean the storage segment here should be fine. I hope that this... No, this should actually work. I think we tested it out once, so we saved a bit of space right there. In terms of the amounts, we'll have to see. We will need 5 metal cases, 10 units of glass, and 15 units of metal. So maybe we... Oh god. Where's this one coming from? Oh, right. So here, 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 and then there. Oh, God. All right. Let's maybe continue with this second conveyor belt, and then we'll actually take care of these things when we get there, because we'll need to get, like, glass and metal and everything assigned first. Now, this second conveyor belt is going to be a bit more complicated, because we do need the glass, evidently. We do need the metal, evidently, as well. And I'm quite sure we wanted to bring over something else here as well, potentially, because we've got this, like, corner shelf going here. to... Wait, no. This actually goes a totally different way. Oh, Jesus Christ, this is complicated. Okay, so I mean here in the end we will probably have some metal and some glass. Let's start with this one, though. We'll just work our way from the top on downwards. And this one here provides stuff for this big shelving rack, which in the end goes to, firstly, the circuit board production that we've got going over here, and then secondly, I guess, to some sort of circuit, yes, production. So, starting with the circuit boards, then we'll go from there. 10 units of metal, 10 units of plastic. Easy enough. We will go and assign that here, first things first. Plastic. Metal, and there we go. That's that. That'll be retrieved right here, and we'll just withdraw that right here. Does that work? We'll have to see if that does work. Well, we'll keep an eye on that. I'm not quite sure if we did actually test this one or not. To me, it's quite weird not to have any sort of conveyors and then in the middle. And in the end, I mean, honestly, we can move it if needed, so it's fine. It's not like a deal breaker if it doesn't, but I mean, given that I've set it up like this, I would assume that it works. We'll see. So that is, oopsies, that is that part assigned for a start. And we can maybe already also, no, we'll do that in the end when we know the tally of the materials that we need. So that is going to be the circuit boards, which gives us 25 circuit boards. Those are going to go into here. Same as whatever on top things we're carrying right here. And that is going to be retrieved right here for the production of the simple circuits, which I guess we're going to be using right out here. Hopefully not for anything else down there. That would be very, very, very worrying indeed, but overall I think it should be fine. So, simple circuits we're making right here. We do only need electronic parts, 25 of them to be precise. So let me go and configure this guy right here to retrieve 25 electronic parts for us. Those are going to go around the outside here, going to be stored into there, and we will retrieve them alongside 5 circuit boards. So this one right here is going to grab circuit boards, 5 of them. And it's going to go and grab ourselves 25 electronic parts. And that's then going to get pushed all the way through. And that is basically all we want now down here. Let's double check that we don't need anything else. Quite fine by me. Now we do have stuff like the electronic parts right here, but I would assume and hope that we're going to bring them through with this conveyor right here. And then in the end that person's going to have to run back and forth picking these things up. Hopefully they're going to manage. Kind of the only thing we managed to jam things in right there. Fingers crossed, I guess. But that's somewhat going to go well for us in the end. Worst case, you know, maybe we get some sort of logistics employee going that can kind of move things to this big shelving rack, which I guess would get things a bit closer, but that's some efficiency stuff that we worry about when we get there, I guess. So that's going to be that done. It's going to give us the simple circuits, which are going to come out right here, and then, well, this part I think we can only really set up when the simple circuits actually, no, it's actually already in the queue, so, you know, this is where you get your simple circuits. Fellow lad. I'm not sure I'm entirely happy about that one, to be honest. I think we are going to go and hire a logistics employee for this one. I guess we're thinking about that now, but yeah, I mean, this makes more sense to kind of shorten their distances at the very end of the day. So that is that conveyor chain somewhat set up, except for this input part right here. So let's kind of tally things up. We've got 25 electronic parts that we need per cycle. We've got 10 parts of metal, 10 parts of plastic. So let's configure it like that. And then we'll actually add the input in our, I was going to call it a base, but in our main production building as well, once we are done with this part. So 10, 10, 25, and we will go and get from here the metal, nope, not there, the plastic and the electronic parts. In terms of amounts, I mean, at the end of the day, this is going to be 5 sets to be while that are removable by the retrieval segment, there's only going to be 4 sets of electronic parts because it stacks 25, so we're just going to increase that a bit, just in case, you know. Not like it will help insanely much anyways, but hey, it's a start. Then, we've got this part down here. This one's going to be an interesting one. This one's really going to be an interesting one, because I think we need to transport with this one 4 different bits, which I find to be quite the insane plan, but hopefully it'll all somehow work in the end, I guess. So, I'm actually a bit worried about this one, not gonna lie. The reason that I'm a bit worried is that the second that we get too many plastic parts in this thing, the entire production is going to get stuck. So that's the one bit here that I don't really like whatsoever. I mean, you've got to imagine all these machines are in very nicely timed cycles, right? So the metal case, the glass, the metal only gets used like once per day, the stack that we program in. And, you know, at the end of the day, that's quite fine. The plastic parts on the other hand side, they get removed whenever the employee needs them. So quite the different cycle. They're gonna be like some sort of logistics ways. It's all a bit. It's a bit troublesome, not gonna lie. I'm kind of a bit worried that we may get things stuck right there. We'll give it a try, I guess. Worst case, we may need some sort of courier alternative to moving these plastic parts. We'll try it like this for now, and then I guess we see how well it works. On top of that, we actually... Okay, no, the metal we need here as well. It's just going to be a bit of a matter of... Oh, Jesus Christ. Let's start with this part right now. I think I kind of need to give the other part a second thought, because I'm currently very worried that we may get the production of our cases stuck just because we have an overflow of like plastic parts and metal or something else in this world, in this shelf. Starting like this though, we will go and set up 10 units of glass and 15 units of metal in the retrieval segment. I think that one we can already take as a given. We will definitely transport. So 10 units of glass, 15 units of metal. That was the way around it was. Yeah. Okay, cool. So that we will remove right here. That'll go all the way through here. It'll go into this corner shelf right here. Then we have to remove that part again. So 10 units of glass, that's the wrong way around, I think. Now we've got to click the inverted buttons again. Trying not to get my myself confused. That's the right way around now. That's going to go all the way into here. And then right here... Why do I have a plastic removal queued? And why is there actually plastic on... I am more than confused by life right now. Why is there plastic? We're not using any plastic in this very production. How in the world did that get there in the first place? I am so confused. Okay, so glass, metal, and cases. Which ones is the good question? Metal cases, I suppose. 10 units of glass. 10. 15 units of metal, and 5 cases. That's going to be the frequency at which we remove this. That's going to go into there. That's going to get stored beautifully into there, and we're all going to be happy ever after. So that's that for a start. I guess... I don't know why is there plastic in this shelf? I'm so confused. I think it may have been because we were trying to attach that shelf to the circuit board production. Maybe? This we don't have to increase. Anything else will just kind of randomly increase across the board, except for the plastic, because we are not going to use plastic in this very production. That's that going into there, and that'll pop up in here eventually, which is going to be absolutely awesome. So the 2 parts in the end that we want to source from this entire madness train of conveyors It's going to be our shortwave radio links. It's going to be our cases. Now the question is kind of just how many shortwave radio links we're going to pull out of this. At the end, this is also not going to be quite synced, which is another thing that kind of worries me. At the end, that would also be something that we could technically solve by just having a courier instead of working with a conveyor. But that would also imply finding the space. Well, I mean, we do technically have a pallet right here that we could just use for one of our couriers, to be honest. Should we just courier the radio links? I mean, let's go and program this stuff first. We are going to go and grab the window cases 5 times every single time this pops up in the queue. It's going to run into there, get stored into there. We will hopefully not see the window cases right here, so that'll actually have to flow through, but once it does flow through, we can then nicely just assign it to be moved over to the big shelving rack. These guys will have the input, and everybody's going to be happy ever after. So that's good, that's beautiful. The only one question remaining is how do we want to do this part right here? I mean, we could start by actually hiring somebody to do it. I think that's a good first step. But going on from that, I really have the strong feeling that we should maybe try and not move the plastic parts through that conveyor. Have a courier bring them over instead. In that case, we could also kind of Tetris these tables a bit further downwards, which would, you know, allow us to work with the space that we have down here. We can nicely, like, shorten their logistics ways and even just place them directly next to the courier pallet, which would mean that we don't really need a person sorting things down there for us. And that person can also kind of bring back the shortwave radio links at the end of the day. I kind of have the feeling that that's going to be the way that we're going to do it. So let us go, and in the next episode, set up a little bit of a courier in between those two areas for the shortwave radio links, and we'll reposition the tables for ourselves, basically. And that is pretty much going to be it. Then we're going to be making the shortwave radio links. We're going to be making everything that we ever wanted and needed for this product line. And then it's just a matter of actually getting this stuff going, moving over all the things on the conveyor belts, and hoping and praying that everything actually works out as we had planned. So in the next episode, we'll hopefully get that all going, and this thing will finally be rolling, and then we'll find ourselves some new fun things to do. For today though, I'm going to end it off right here. I hope you all very much enjoyed the episode. As usual, if you did, please make sure to hit that like button right down below for the YouTube algorithm. And if you're new around here and haven't done so just yet, also please consider smashing that subscribe button as well as the bell icon right next to it in order to stay up to date on all the future upcoming episodes. With all that out of the way, as usual everybody, thank you so much for watching, and I hope I will catch you in the next one very, very soon. Ciao.